Okay, so to make this hat you will need your knitting machine of choice, 85 grams of bulky yarn, scraps for the nose whiskers and for casting off, for which you will also need a darning needle. Using your bulky yarn, we will start by casting onto the machine using the standard in front and behind cast on. When you've made it all the way around, pop your yarn in the guide and knit 100 rows. After 100 rows, remove your yarn from the guide and using the scrap yarn in a contrasting colour and a darning needle, cast off the machine. To do this, crank the handle and slide the needle under each stitch to remove it from the pins. Once you've removed a few, you can start doing more than one at a time. When you get near the end, you will want to place your finger on the final stitch, just so it doesn't fall off before you reach it. You should be left with a big tube. One side is the cast on edge with the bulky yarn tail, and the other is the cast off edge with the contrasting scrap yarn. We're going to close the cast on edge by pulling on the bulky yarn tail, just as you would for a normal hat. Pull the hole closed as much as you can, and we will secure it in place later. Now for the other end, we are going to join the tube together using a Kitchener stitch. For this I cut my tail to be about 3 times the width of the tube. Now I did film this, but it was impossible to see what I was doing as we're working with black yarn, so here is a little animation of the process instead. So to get started, you'll want to lay your tube with the top and bottom edge facing each other like this. Starting on the bottom row, insert your needle from back to front, and then same for the first stitch on the top row. From now on, we will be working front to back, and the thing to remember with Kitchener stitch is when swapping from top to bottom or bottom to top, you always want to be going into the stitch that your yarn is coming out of. So the purpose of the next stitch is to link these 2 loops together. So going into the hole we came out of and going front to back, we loop them together. Now back to the top and going into the stitch the yarn is coming out of and connecting these 2 stitches together, front to back. Then the bottom again, into the same stitch, connecting these 2 loops, front to back. Then the top, into the same stitch, connecting these 2 loops. And repeat this process all the way along. Leave the yarn on your needle, we will be using it again shortly. And you'll end up with something that looks like this. So now we want to fold the tube in on itself, stuffing the curved edge inside. We want to try and line up the top of the curve with the middle of the square edge. Once you're happy with it, grab the needle and tracing the curve, pop some stitches into the square edge. This will make the first ear. When you reach the top, make a knot and hide the tail between the 2 layers. For the other side, we will use the tail from the curved edge, but first we need to secure it. You can skip this step if you don't plan on making the hat reversible. So just go around a few times, pulling the hole as tight as you can, then pop the curved edge back inside and poke the needle through. And then we're going to do the same that we did for the first ear. We're just going to follow the curved edge, making little stitches until you reach the side. knot and hide the tail. So now it's time to try on the hat. You want to place stitch markers where you want the nose to be. I also placed stitch markers where I wanted the whiskers to end. Then grab some scraps of yarn and embroider the nose and whiskers. I used pink and white, but you can use any colours you have lying around. Now you have 2 hats to enjoy or give as gifts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. That really helps my channel out. A special thank you to my subscribers and to the lovely folks who click the thanks button below. Your support is greatly appreciated. I'll see you in the next one.